You're now listening to the Arsenal Therapy Podcast.
The Premier League season is over and Arsenal have narrowly missed out by 2 points. But should we be satisfied as fans? Mikel Arteta says we should not. It's been a season where I've been so proud, so lucky to go and watch the team on so many occasions this year, home and away, and really get behind the team, watch the growth. And I've been lucky enough to watch Arsenal for over 20 years and see some of the finest players in our club's history. This year, I've been so proud of the team, and the journey that we're on fills me with so much optimism. But Mikel Arteta tells us we should not be satisfied, which is pretty insane when you look at the standards that he is exuding right now, the levels that he's holding the players to. And when you look at those players on the final day of the season, they look dejected. They looked heartbroken. Kai Havertz looked like just so disappointed on the final day. You saw Kai right up to the end of the game. He battled, he fought. When he kicked the post, that's the kind of anger and enthusiasm that we've wanted to see from our players for years. And Kai was showing it in the final day. He wanted to win. Even if we weren't going to win the league, he wanted those 3 points. So did many others. Martin Odegaard, so many players in our team, they live by these standards now. And Arteta has come from Pep's environment. He was part of the coaching staff from the Centurions team, the 98-point team that won the league by a point over Liverpool. And now he's saying that we should not be satisfied, that we have to go and aim for these standards. We have to get better. We have to win the league. And what I loved was his interview after the game, which I'll just bring up, him saying exactly what we want to hear.
They win, I don't know. But if we keep knocking and being that close, at the end it will happen.
Arteta believes, he knows that we are on the right path. He knows the standards that you have to hit to win a Premier League title. He has said it very clearly. He's not here to get us in the top four and consistently bring the finances in and create a brand at Arsenal. He wants to create a winning brand. He basically wants to do what City have done in terms of success. City have now won 4 in a row. Arteta has come from that background. He knows the standards that are required. And when you look at the journey we've been on, first season, 56 points. He was only in halfway through the season. Not a good enough points total, but the club were in a mess and we won an FA Cup. Second season, he starts to implement his ideas. There's that great Tim Cahill interview where he talks about what we were doing on the pitch. The press and the hurry and the movement, the shape, all those things were just starting to take place in Arteta's first season. And there were a lot of teething problems. Let's be honest, it wasn't perfect. There were some low moments during that, but there was also no fans in the ground. We were going through a big transition, a lot of senior players not performing that Arteta then decided to get rid of. Next season, we're being torn apart for our transfer strategy, a strategy that saw us bring in Ramsdale, Ben White, Takehiro Tomiyasu, and Martin Odegaard, 4 players that have been part of the backbone of this journey and have really helped us get to there. 3 of those players started on Sunday against Everton and have been crucial. Martin Odegaard's now club captain. Then you look at that season, narrowly missing out in 2 points. Arteta got those players to harness the disappointment of that season, and he took it into last season where we finished with 84 points, 15 points better off after only signing a few players and scored 88 goals. But it was frantic, it was frenetic, and it wasn't sustainable. We saw that. Then we went into the season that's just finished, and Arteta implemented a style that focused on control, shape out of possession, and a steady build-up that allowed us to conserve energy for the run-in. There were teething problems again in the first half of the season. We dropped some points we shouldn't have. Second half of the season, we saw just how good Arsenal are and finishing with 89 points. But Arteta says that's not good enough and we should not be satisfied. The players themselves said that they're not satisfied. They want more. And we're only going to get better. If you look at this season, 28 wins when the average wins for a title winner are 27. Average title winner gets 88 points. We've got 89. Average goals, 83. We've scored 91. The average goals per game, 2.2. We've got 2.9. And then the average goals conceded per game is 0.8, which we've been bang on the money. Most of the time we win the title, but this is the Pep Guardiola era. And rather than getting down on our laurels, moaning about the charges, let's focus on the Arsenal journey. Arteta says about not being satisfied. As a fan, I'm buzzing to watch this team. I can't wait to watch Arsenal every time we play. And the fact that Arteta says we shouldn't be satisfied just fills me with even more optimism. This is what we're watching before our eyes. This is the third youngest team in the league. This is a team that are doing insane things that we haven't seen from an Arsenal team for a long time. And this is what Arteta said. Don't be satisfied because we want more, much more than that. We're going to get it. He said in his interview, which I showed at the start, that we're going to win it. He fully believes that. These aren't empty words. This is a man that holds himself and his team to those standards. And he firmly believes, and he will be going straight into the transfer window to do the things that he thinks will help us get to the next level. And he said it himself, nobody has to explain to him what the level is. As I said, he was part of the City Centurions coaching staff, and he says, I've been there. I know what we have to do, and I know we're on the right trajectory as a club. That's so important. He has been in Pep's environment. He's been in his inner circle. I don't think Arteta believes that anything below those standards are acceptable. That's the environment he started his coaching journey in. And Pep has essentially created his own problem now because no one else is competing with City. No one else is pushing them. And yes, we haven't won a trophy. And fans, I'm not the gatekeeper of happiness. I'm not the gatekeeper of satisfaction. If you're not satisfied as a fan, that's your prerogative. You've got the right to do that. But I'm so optimistic about what the journey of this team is. And with it being the third youngest team, there were players that had adaptations that were required during the first half of this season that we saw become different animals in the second. We had Jurriën Timber out for a year. We've had Thomas Partey out for a long time. And every club goes through injuries. But it's how you respond and react to those injuries that tells you how resilient the team is. And we showed we can do that this year. But Arteta also, as I've said, wants to get his business done early. Miguel Delaney reported that he is very much looking at what can be done, and the plans are already in place, and Arsenal are expected to start moving very quickly. Now that the season's over, there's still games left in other leagues, the Championship playoff finals, the Champions League final, and so on. But we will start to see deals because during the Euros, there will be a month where very few deals are done. So a lot of clubs will want to get deals done before the Euros if they can, because if it goes on during the tournament and those players are at the tournament, we will see a month where very little happens. We saw it with Ben White. It was almost done. He went to the Euros with England and it was all put on hold. So let's wait and see what happens here. But what we can be very confident in is Mikel and Edu and Josh Kroenke's relationship and drive to keep moving this team forward. And Josh said in his program notes before the game that while we're undoubtedly proud of the team and the progress that's been made, he wants to make it clear that no one will stand still. So this isn't just Mikel Arteta saying this. That's why I mean these aren't empty words. He is the backing of this football club. He has people that fully believe in what he's doing. And he's got people at the top in Edu. He's got Josh Kroenke who fully believe and want this success. The Kroenkes had a lot of negativity around them for a long time. But when they assumed full control of Arsenal, they started putting their money where their mouth is. They started really looking at the structure of the club and redoing a lot of things. And this is a family that KSE Sports own a number of US sports clubs, all of which are very successful and all of which have gone through teething problems before they were able to get their structure in place. Josh is someone that's got a huge focus on Arsenal. And since he's come in and he's been given that project, he's working very closely with the people at the top and the key people at Arsenal, because as he said in his last line, there is so much more we want to achieve. Because as I said at the beginning, as fans, we can be satisfied. I don't think they are. I think they see that this as a stepping stone again. This isn't like Spurs whenever they got to second, they got to Champions League final. We know Daniel Levy values money more than anything. I think the Kroenkes value success. They're an incredibly rich family. And the more success you can bring on the pitch, the more long-term value you can bring to your sporting project and thus keep bringing money in year after year after year. And it's not just coming from the directors, the management team. Martin Odegaard said that the fans all believe now, and he can't wait to get back after the break. We have to use the break to come back even stronger, even more hungry, and push to win everything. This is the captain speaking. We saw similar words from Kai Havertz. He was someone who said that he wants to come back hungrier. He believes that Arsenal will come back a better team. And when you look at the quality on the pitch as well, it's not just empty words. This isn't players like we've had in the past that are just talking to the media, talking to the fans. They're doing it on the pitch. And I thought this quote from Garth Crooks, who is a Spurs man through and through, who never says anything good about Arsenal, was absolutely brilliant and very out of character. Martin Odegaard is more than a professional footballer. He's a throwback to what captains of big clubs used to look like. Outstanding player, great leader, and respected by his teammates. He has little time for the spotlight and is only interested in getting the job done. The game needs more of him. That's a huge quote. And that's something that, as I just said, it's not empty words. These aren't players that are just talking to the media and the fans on the final day. The last paragraph here, he has little time for the spotlight and is only interested in getting the job done. That sums up where Arsenal are at the minute. Arteta seems to see press conferences as a tick box exercise. He definitely doesn't love going in and talking to the media. There's times he has the odd joke with them and stuff, but it's part of his job. And you look at a lot of this Arsenal team, they're not interested in talking. The interviews are mixed from the players. Some, Declan Rice, he loves the media duties, you can tell. Bukayo Saka is quite good at them. But someone like Martin Odegaard, he is very much focused on the job at hand. And that's something that we look at and we see players and why this club is going to develop and move forward. Because the attitude of success and the desire for it reaches the players, the management, the executive team, and the owners. And again, we've seen Kai Havertz. He came out after the game and said that he's very, very confident that this team are going to come back even better next season. But he put out a great post on social media again saying, where do I start? My first season has helped him grow as a person and a player in many years. He's grateful for the support. But the last line is keen. But I know with this club we can achieve big things. And that's what we hear time after time from these players. It's the consistent message of we want to achieve, we want to get better. And that is why we have to keep growing as a club and we have to keep believing as a fan base and keep demanding these standards continue, because the fans getting behind the players and really getting behind the club are part of what's helped drive this journey towards success. Because right now it's been successful, but we can't describe it fully as a success, I guess, until we win stuff, because that the barometer for success keeps changing. At one point, top four was a trophy. Arsenal get into top four and they're bottlers because they didn't win the title. Arsenal achieved record wins in the Premier League. Bottlers didn't win the title. It's constantly changing, but the only way that you can fully be regarded as one of the absolute elite clubs is by winning trophies. And every player at this club will tell you that. Mikel Arteta will tell you that. Josh Kroenke, Edu. As fans, we are here to enjoy the journey. And I've always said, if you focus solely on winning the title at the end of the season, you're probably not a football fan. Football's about the emotions, the moments in games, the goals, the things that get you off your feet. But ultimately, what every player wants is for that journey to end in a trophy. And that's what we want as fans too. But it can't be the sole focus or you'll drive yourself mad. But interestingly, Fabrizio Romano has said that there's a very concrete possibility that Pep leaves in 2025. That's something that we've heard for a while, but it's something that I think could actually help Arsenal. We have to go for the title next season. And really, if Arteta can pip Pep to the title whilst he's still at City, that would be huge, absolutely monumental. But one of the things I've said in a tweet earlier is the standards that Pep set could actually benefit Arsenal. And this is why I haven't been too hung up on the Chargers, because I think in some ways we're coming to compete with City when they're just slightly past their pump in some ways. De Bruyne is getting a bit older. Some other players in the side, Gundogan's gone, Mahrez is gone. It looks like Bernardo Silva will be off soon. They're phenomenal players. And their recruitment hasn't been as good as it's been in previous years. Yes, they brought in Haaland, and Vardiol has been a massive success, but they've also brought in the likes of Calvin Phillips and Mateus Nunes for over 100 million combined that haven't made any impact. So I do wonder, if this could actually benefit us. The standards that Pep has created, the 100-point targets and so on. As I said, Mikel believes they are the only standards now. Mikel isn't there to go and compete for a title at 90 points. He fully believes that we are good enough to go out and get that number of points. And you know something? He is going to go and tell every player that that's what the minimum is 95 next year. We have to score 100 goals. We have to concede 20 goals. They're the standards. And when you look at some of the goals we've conceded this season, there's been a lot of silly individual mistakes. There's been a lot of chances left on the goals left on the field. And these are the things that we can improve on. And the other thing that we can improve on is bringing our squad from a group of kind of 15 players to a group of 18, 19 players that are all able to compete and all able to make an impact on the pitch. So less squad players that are being paid not to play, and a fully robust, mobile, lean squad that are all making impacts. But finally, I want to share a video of the reaction of the crowd at the Emirates on Sunday, just to show how behind this team all the fans are. I've been going to Arsenal for well over 20 years. My first game was in 2001 when Arsenal beat United 3-1 at Highbury. And I can tell you the atmosphere, the belief within the fans, the unity that is existent between the players, the fans, and even just between fellow fans is at a level that I haven't seen before. I used to go home and away every week whenever Arsene Wenger was in his latter years. We had fans arguing and fighting in the stands. We had a horrible atmosphere at games. It wasn't a pleasant experience. We turned up with the hope that we would get 3 points. Now we turn up nervous because what if we don't get 3 points, because they're the standards. That's the level that we're playing at now. And you know something, that should be embraced rather than feared. If you can get to Arsenal, if you can get to a game, go. It's the most enjoyable thing you can do right now. The songs on the terraces, we've got a greater songbook than ever, and it's only going to keep getting better as results on the pitch continue to improve, and we do bring the trophies that Mikel has promised. So look, thank you to everyone that's joined. I want you to tell me in the comments, do you think we should be satisfied? Are you satisfied? What's next, and how does this team grow? Thank you to everyone that's joined, and please make sure to drop a like on the video and drop a subscribe on the channel. Have a great day.